What's going on, YouTube family? Today we're going to be talking about how to increase your odds of getting approved for an auto loan. So I've been in the automotive industry for over 20 years as a dealer and as somebody that buys and sells auto loan portfolio. So I can tell you exactly what bankers are looking for as well as dealerships. Now I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks that I use to help people get approved as well as getting larger loan amounts. On top of that, I'm going to tell you a 100% guaranteed way to actually get approved for an auto loan, but you got to go through an actual dealership. So the first thing we're going to be starting off with is knowing your credit. There's nothing worse than somebody walking into my dealership saying, hey, I got a 750 credit score on Credit Karma, and then we run their credit and there's somewhere around 500. When you run your credit, use a real credit bureau, and you need to run all three bureaus. The reason is your score can be dramatically different depending on which bureau you pull it from. So for example, your Experian could be 500, your Equifax could be 600, and your TransUnion could be 700. Just from these simple differences can dramatically change the amount you're approved for, what interest rate you're getting, or if you're just going to flat out get denied. So now that we know that Equifax and TransUnion are the two highest credit bureaus, we're going to go ahead and lock your Experian profile and start looking for banks. Now, when you look at banks, you say, hey, who pulls from Equifax and TransUnion? And the good thing is all these lists are all over the internet as well as YouTube. Now, off the top of my head, I can think of Capital One pulls TransUnion. So you can go to Capital One and do a soft pull credit approval to see exactly where you stand if your highest score is TransUnion. Now, once you get that, you see what they ask for. Every bank is going to have lending parameters. This is very, very important. I'll get into that here in a minute. So after you find a list of banks that do, that pull from these two bureaus, don't run your credit right away unless it's a soft pull. From there, start looking locally. Look at your local credit union, look at your local state banks, ask them, hey, what do you guys pull? Do you guys pull TransUnion, Equifax, Experian? They will tell you. After that, this is when you get into the actual requirements for the actual loan. First, you're going to ask them about their lending criteria. Now, this is very important. Every bank lends differently. Some banks love trucks and SUVs. Some banks like Japanese cars, American cars. Some banks like new cars, some banks like older cars, some don't care about high mileage, some do, some even do salvage titles. So it's very important that you ask all the questions because there's nothing worse than picking the wrong car. I've seen this happen a million times. Somebody will come into my dealership with a really good score, pick a bad car that no bank wants, and then when they run their credit, they're wondering why the bank turned them down because they have such good credit. Why I can buy a $60,000 car, why can't I buy this $15,000 Subaru WRX? It's probably because that car's crap and they don't want to finance an older car. So every car comes with a risk emblem, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But this is why we ask the bank for their lending requirements, so we stay in those parameters. Each little step increases your odds of getting approved for an auto loan. So now that you talk to all the banks and you know exactly where you stand when it comes to getting approved and what they're exactly looking for, let's talk about documentation. Now, this is something that absolutely kills 90% of the deals out there. So when you're going to finance a car, depending on your credit, if you have good credit, they won't ask you for a lot of documentation. The worse your credit is, the more documentation they're going to ask. So here are a few things that you can set up now to set yourself up for success. First thing is proof of income. This is very important. You do not want to lie. There are so many ways the banks and dealerships can check this stuff now. There's no point in doing it. Fake pay stubs, fake job letters, all those things fall to the wayside when we use Plaid to verify. So if I put in a fake bank statement and let's say the address and the name comes back to somebody else, you just photocopied your name on it, automatically they will turn you down. And more than likely, they're going to flag your account. So even if you go to another dealership or you go somewhere else, they will not approve you because they think you're a liar. This is important. You will literally throw away your odds of getting approved for a car if you do this. Be honest. If you make a little bit less, say you do. If you get $3,000 a month in direct deposits, put it on there because they're going to check a lot of this stuff through Plaid. It's going to connect your bank account and it's going to show them exactly what you got going in and out of your account. Next is proof of residence. And this is very important. With the spike in repos and everybody disappearing because of the pandemic and everybody moved all over the United States, banks are scared to lend people money that have multiple addresses on their credit bureaus and that are constantly moving. You are seen as a higher risk. So what you want to do is first, check your credit bureau, check everything else, and make sure your addresses all match up. So whatever you're going to use on your credit bureau, make sure your ID matches up. Get your cell phone, make sure that matches up. You want to have everything looking the same so the bank feels more comfortable giving you a loan. So when you're doing the proof of residency, you want to have a phone bill, power bill, cable bill, whatever the case may be. try to put all that together before they even ask for it. You're gonna need proof of insurance. Make sure you have your binder ready. So as soon as you get approved, you can go ahead and call your person and you know exactly what your rate's gonna be and you can fax them that right away. Also on subprime customers, they are gonna ask you for 10 personal references. So have names, phone numbers, and addresses ready, because I've seen this before where we literally had to keep a car because this lady only knew 5 people and she couldn't fill out the full 10. So I'm sure if you guys watching this are probably like, Lucky, what is if I have really bad credit or if I have no credit at all? What should I do? Well, the very first thing is you should get yourself a secured credit card. You can go to multiple banks and credit unions, put $200 to $500 down and get a secured credit card right now, because even if you have a repo or bad stuff or no credit at all, you need to have some sort of positive traction on your credit file. This is very, very important. Too many people file bankruptcy or get a repo and they just stop. They don't do anything afterwards. You need to build positive credit history as fast as you possibly can. Next, we're going to be talking about trade lines and authorized users. Now, we're dancing in the gray area when it comes to speeding up your credit or credit repair. So if you want to score much, much higher in a very short amount of time, you can reach out to your friends or family and say, hey, look, I plan on buying a car in the next 2 to 3 months. Can you add me on to 1 or 2 of your credit cards just so I can get the credit history, and in a month or 2, just take me off. And I've seen people do this and your score jumps sometimes 50 to 100 points fairly easily. All they got to do is add you. But you got to make sure, 1, they don't owe a bunch of money on the card, and 2, they don't have a bunch of late payments. Because whatever history is on their credit, good or bad, transfers over to yours once they add you as an authorized user. So that's very important. So if you don't have friends or family or anybody that wants to do this for you, there are other ways. I don't recommend it, but you can do it. And I've done it before with a few clients. So instead of putting $10,000 down on a car you really can't afford and your interest is really high, you could buy trade lines. Now, there are companies all across the United States that will sell trade lines. Trade lines are authorized users. Some are like fixed loans. Some are even jewelry lines of credit. I don't even know if those guys still exist anymore. But basically, you send them like $1,000 and they will give you a 15-year-old Bank of America card with $15,000 on it. And once you do this, it'll show up on, depending on which bureau it comes on. So you need to make sure you read all the fine print on some of these sites, because remember, each card doesn't always show up in all 3 bureaus. So you want to make sure that you're targeting your credit repair in the right way. But that is a really fast way of doing it. Now, ones to stay away from are anything that's like car loans. There are no auto loan trade lines. If they are, they're bad. They're going to fall off. They're going to turn into collections. Also, no leases, no timeshares. Don't do any of those. Don't touch anything like that. Stay away. So now that we got that step taken care of, let's go ahead and go back to the banks, and we're actually going to get pre-approved for a car. The reason why we do this is to let you know exactly where you stand, because a lot of people have these big grandeurs. I'm going to get this amazing car at this low payment. They're going to tell you exactly what you're going to get approved for and how much your payments are. And even better yet, most banks will issue a check or a letter that you can take to a dealership to show them that you're pre-approved. And you use this letter for leverage. Now let's go ahead and get into actually looking for cars. So let's say you go to the dealership and you see this G-Wagon. Remember, you're pre-approved. This car is $40,000. You could take your $35,000 check, go to the manager and say, hey, look, I'm pre-approved. There's no headache, no stress. Take my check. I will buy this for $35,000 today. You know, I don't want to pay 40. And this will give you a little bit of leverage, because now they're like, well, we don't have to pay any salespeople. We don't have to chase people around. We don't have to deal with the banks. Sometimes they'll take it, but it gives you better odds of getting approved. Now, they'll always tell you, let me run your credit. I can give you a better deal. Don't. Stick by your approval, because the bank's basically telling you what you can get approved for. Dealerships can get you approved for more, but sometimes it could be in their favor, which I'll explain here in a little bit. So obviously when you have good credit, you can kind of pick whatever you want. When you have bad credit or no credit at all, I'm going to say this really loudly. If you're going to buy a car and pay 28% interest, don't buy a nice car. Don't buy a $50,000 car. Buy a car that's maybe $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, because this way your payment's much lower. You can afford it, and hopefully 6 to 12 months, then you can go back and buy the car you really want with a low interest rate because you built your credit. But everybody does it half-ass backwards. They buy the Dodge Charger at 29.99% at $58,000, and they totally get wrecked. You got that $1,800 a month car payment, where the exact same car, if you were just to wait 1 year later, would cost you probably $900. So take your time. Don't do anything crazy like that, and just buy something cheap and build your credit. All right, we made it to the part of the video where we're gonna talk about 100% guaranteed approval. Now, there is a way that somebody can go to a dealership, because you have to go to a dealership for this, and get approved for any car, no matter what their credit is or how much money you have down. So this is how it works. As a dealer, I buy and sell hundreds of cars every single month. And because of this, bankers want to do business with dealerships like me. But how do these bankers stick out between all these other bankers trying to do business with me and basically buy and sell some of my auto loans? Well, they do different types of favors, or they give you bonuses or incentives to basically help your customers get approved for cars. Now, depending on how many cars you sell and how great of a relationship you have with your banker, you can do different things. So I've had it where, hey, you know what? The customer doesn't have enough money down. Can you waive that down payment? The bank can say, yes, no problem. We'll do that for you this one time on the loan. No problem. Another time I can be like, hey, this customer is really stuck at a $500 payment. He doesn't want to do anything higher. Can we lower the interest rate and possibly tag on 2 or 3 months to the loan to get him under that $500 marker? And once again, if you have enough history built up with them or enough juice to push it through, most of the bankers will say yes. Now, the last we're going to be talking about is the 100% guaranteed approval auto loan. Now, once again, if you do enough business with this bank and you carry enough juice with them and they owe you a bunch of favors, you can call your banker and say, hey, look, man, I need to get rid of a car. I got a customer that wants this car. I want to make it happen, and they will make it happen. So if you're a smart individual, you can walk into a dealership and say, hey, look, I don't have really great credit. I don't have a big, massive down payment. I'm open to my car options. What do you have on your lot that's old that you want to get rid of? Now, the reason why dealers don't like old cars because it makes them look bad. Anytime a car is there for over 100 days, it makes not only the managers look bad, but the car buyers as well. So it's very important for dealerships to turn over their inventory every 90 days. So what happens is, as a dealer, if someone comes up to me and says that, I'm going to look and be like, hey, I got this Jeep. Do you like this Jeep? Yeah, I just need a car from A to B. Then I call the bank. I'm like, hey, look, this customer's got bad credit. He's got hardly any money down. He's got 3 months on his new job at Taco Bell, but I want to sell him this Jeep. Make it happen. And if you have enough juice, the bank can actually make the deal happen, no problems. But depending on how much juice you have, there may be strings attached to this deal. And this is where recourse comes in. So if the bank comes back and says, you know what, we don't really like the customer, but we'll do this for you, but we're going to ask for one thing. We're going to ask for recourse. Recourse means that you're married to that customer. They can say a 3-month recourse. So for the first 3 payments, the dealership has to make sure you make them. If not, the dealership has to pay back the bank and chase the customer for the car. But if you're looking to get into a car to build your credit and to get you around, this is probably the best way to get a 100% guaranteed approval, because dealerships out there will do this. You just have to talk to the dealerships and the bankers and figure out the best plan. Now, if any bankers or dealerships are watching this, please chime in the comment section below so they know I'm not full of crap. I probably did maybe one of these every single month where I'll be like, can you make it happen? Yeah, we'll do it. Can you do this one? Yeah, we'll add a 1 month of recourse. So dealerships can do it if they want. So that's why it's very important to build a relationship with a dealer. So this way, when you go in to ask for that favor, they're like, okay, he's a good guy. He's not going to screw us over. Because remember, some dealers have to put their name on the line to make sure that you don't default. So don't make them regret it. Make sure you make your payments. But that is 100% a guaranteed way to get approved on just about any car. I've done this with cheap cars. I've even done it with expensive trucks. And I remember this one G-Wagon we had to dump before the market went out. And this guy he wanted it. We told him that you're going to be negative equity. He didn't care. And we did the deal. Begged the bank to take it. They took the deal and we got rid of the car and we basically saved our flooring line. So there are ways out there to do this. Just like I said, make a relationship with the bank, talk to the sales guys. So where there's a will, there's a way. But I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What do you guys think of some of the tips? Have you heard any of these? Also, did you know about the 100% guaranteed approval if the dealership pushes it through? So remember, treat your dealers nice. They have their thumb on the scale when it comes to your approval. Make sure to leave a like and comment. Subscribe if you can. Follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. We got more car flipping videos coming up soon, and we'll see you next time.